The Flushing girl from Flushing, the nanny named Fran.
Oh, Mr. Sheffield.
Miss Fine.
Hello and welcome to Oh, Mr. Sheffield. This is a bonus episode. It's not the usual episode. There's no episode number. It's like the Wild West here at Oh, Mr. Sheffield headquarters. Hi, I'm Shawn and Toria here with my co-host,
Toria Sheffield.
That's right. No relation to the titular Mr. Sheffield, as you're probably aware by now. But yeah, so this is a bonus episode. We've finished season 1 of The Nanny. Toria, how are you feeling after a full season of The Nanny?
My takeaway is like, this has been really fun. And it's not that I didn't think it would be fun, but I thought it's like the work part has also been fun. The work that we're doing on it and the editing and the figuring out social media and even like all the research for each episode. It's a really nice little spot of my week that like you could arguably be like, oh, you're adding more work to your plate. And, Shawn and I both are always doing a million different things. So it could seem more of like a obligation, but it hasn't. And that's been amazing.
It's been extra fun, and especially over the last couple weeks, as like it really seems like people have been discovering the show, and like have some people have been reaching out to say like, oh hey, we like it, or even just to interact. Like we're going to do a Q&A at the end of this episode, and we asked if anyone had questions, and we got some questions, and all of that also makes it feel like extra fun because it's like it counts. People are interested as we are, which is cool.
Oh, also, my cousin Jenna texted yesterday, to steal my HBO Go password, but then to say, also, your podcast is getting good.
And then
she goes, not that it was bad, but you and Shawn are getting better together, the vibing and timing. And then she said, do more trivia on it. It's my favorite part of what you do on the show. And I go, okay. Well, that's the hardest part to do a lot of because there's only so much trivia. So, but I just love it. It's like the one thing neither of you bring is my favorite part.
Yeah, she's like, go to IMDb and find more trivia and read it to me. Maybe she specifically meant our Trivia Wars segment where we talk about the IMDb trivia wars happening.
Well, either way, I appreciate your support, Jenna. You're backhanded.
Yes,
support.
Thank you for the backhanded support, Jenna.
No, I love you, Jenna.
I also love you, Jenna.
Mm-hmm.
Direct call out and shout out to Jenna.
But and one thing about this episode is we kind of said, well, we try to keep our usual weekly episode pretty focused on, the actual thing that we watched. But this is like the stuff that we don't get a ton of time to talk about, or that sometimes we talk about or gets cut. And a big part of what we want to talk about this week is the Nanny musical. The Broadway show. It was announced, I think, in January of 2020. Yeah. But it started to really heat up recently in that it's like definitely a go. It's going to be written by Fran Drescher and Peter Mark Jacobson. So it's going to be very authentically the tone of the show that we know and love. And then the music is spearheaded by Rachel Bloom. So it's like basically the creative team. It's like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, if that's a show you love, and The Nanny combined forces. And there was this really nice Rachel Bloom quote. She said this in a relatively recent statement. She said, "The Nanny was a fundamental part of my childhood because it was the first time I saw an openly Jewish female protagonist on television. The story of Fran Fine, however, is a universal one that has touched the hearts of people of every race, religion, and orientation. I'm so proud to be using the characters established by The Nanny to tell a new story about one woman's journey to becoming proud of who she is and what makes her different."
There's not too much. I mean, we don't really know much about what the Nanny musical is going to be like. Fran has said that she won't be in it. And then in sort of saying, explaining why she won't be in it, she did sort of give a hint of like that it will be a very heavy singing part for the Fran Fine role, which sort of indicates to me that it's probably going to be more, operatic than, dialogue song, which I'm all for. Like, let it be all song, let it be more Hamilton-esque or Rent-esque. In song leading to song. I think that's so fun.
Well, she also said that this role will probably require the next Barbra Streisand.
Tori, you and I should make it a mission to like be there on like opening, like within like opening weeks to see this and report back on this show.
That would be amazing. We have to do that.
We have to do that, right?
I mean, we have a podcast about the Nanny. We have to see the Nanny musical. And I don't think we can wait for it to come to LA.
No. We have to make it like a thing. Like we've got to make sure that we get tickets to go out there. We'll have to call some favors in, like worst case scenario, but we actually know people that might be able to help us get.
We'll go to Favortown and then we'll go to
Favortown and make it happen. Yeah.
God.
And I'm really excited. Another thing though, that this brings up that I kind of wanted to talk about on this little bonus episode is that we don't get to talk about really on the show is the resurgence of love for the Nanny since HBO Max. Like this all happened at the perfect time from my point of view, because we had been talking about doing this long before these shows were available to watch anywhere. In fact, when we recorded the pilot, I believe it was before they were released on HBO Max, and we watched them on Vimeo. We watched the episode.
Oh, that's right. We watched the pilot on Vimeo, and it was like reversed.
Yeah, it was all reversed, and the quality was terrible. But since then, we've been doing the show. The show's come out on HBO Max. That has led inevitably to, obviously Warner Brothers is doing Warner Brothers TV is doing like a small push. And I think Fran and is also Peter are also doing Peter and are also doing more interviews and a little more visible than we've seen them and talking about the Nanny, which then inevitably leads to clickbaity websites writing more articles about the Nanny.
Fran's style has become a huge focal point on a lot of Instagram accounts now.
And one of the things that's popped out of that is, of course, because of the era that we live in, which is the era of TV reboots and revivals and all of these things, has been that question is what is there going to be a Nanny reboot or a Nanny revival? And interestingly, I wanted to share this because this fact kind of came up and led into discussion of the musical in an interview that I was reading. We found out that she is Fran Drescher is contractually not allowed to do a reboot on TV until the musical is out, which I thought was really interesting. It leads to the question of obviously I don't think there would be a reboot of this show. If she's contractually, her hands are tied, it would make no sense to do a reboot while there's a resurgence going on, because you might want to just do a revival or a continuation series. You know what I mean? So I really think it depends on how what the response is before they decide, do we reboot it with a whole new cast, or do we check back in on this cast and these characters?
Roseanne Meet the Connors, but without all the horrendous political storm.
Exactly.
So it's the good version
without
of
all the racism. So Fran Drescher already has a reboot idea in mind. And that was confirmed by Charles Shaughnessy, who plays Max Sheffield.
I always love how I think you are the only person in the world who shortens Maxwell to Max.
Yeah, listen, I got no time for Maxwell. It's Max Sheffield. Come on.
You're a casual guy.
A casual dude. He's talked about it with her, and that she has a really, quote, a really, really genius idea that was very smart way to bring the show back.
Also, we should just put it out there. We are available.
Yeah, we are totally available. We're happy to write. We're here. We're seasoned writers.
So many ideas already.
Yeah. We'll send in samples. I mean, we got bona fides. I've got a manager you can talk to.
We already work well together, though sometimes we do fight professionally, but
it's fun. It's fun.
One day, what? Maybe one day I'm going to tell our listeners the story of when I made you, Tom, and myself take the Enneagram personality test and what I found it revealed.
That will be for the next bonus episode.
Okay. I made us all take personality tests, and Shawn was angry at the very accurate results.
I was. It's true. On that note, in changing the subject, let's do something that we've never done before, but I'm very excited to do because it continues to affirm to me that people are actually listening to the show, which is a little Q&A. We asked if people had questions, and you did.
CastCast95 wrote, if they made the Nanny today, who would be your modern day dream cast?
I actually think that, did you ever watch Broad City?
Ooh.
So, yeah, I actually think that, what's her name from Broad
Alana.
City? Would be Alana. Yeah, would be hilarious as a New York lady moving in with a British, it would be different. I wouldn't have her do the accent, but I think Alana Glazer would be hilarious.
Actually, Keenan would make a good Mr. Sheffield. A widowed man who is likable and would fall, quietly in love with someone.
It's fine.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
But in that version, it's so interesting. This premise actually can be done so many different ways, because in that version, it actually could also be interesting to see a Jewish woman end up with like an upper class, wealthy African-American family.
That's
like
true.
A black widow, like a black dude who's like lost his wife and like his children, and that could also be like super interesting. It's cool. There's so many permeations that could really work, and it all really depends on the characters and what stories you're trying to tell there,
Well, and there's a whole layer deeper you could go, which is a well-to-do black family and nanny, like a Cardi B. There would be a lot to dig into there. Yeah. Neither of us qualified to tell
that story. No, then we can't be in the writer's room. But if you guys do like a Jewishy kind of reboot, again, we're available.
Yeah, we can do some Jews.
Do you watch What We Do in Shadows?
I've seen it.
Okay, so I think Matt Berry would be hilarious in like the Niles role. He plays Laszlo. I'm Laszlo. He's like that, like the loud. Of the three, he's not. Nandor is like sort of like the really tall one with like the Eastern European accent.
Oh, yes. Matt Berry's the guy who he was on that. He does that voiceover character in that British.
Yes. Yeah. Matt Berry's. I mean, he's on way more than just. He was in Toast of London. Is that what you're thinking?
Toast of London.
Where he's an actor. He was also on the IT Crowd.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Matt Berry would be incredible as like the Niles type character. But so this was from Eliza with 3 A's. Eliza or Eliza. Eliza. Hey, Lizzo. Maybe it was Lizzo. Anyway, she asked, do you think the creators of The Nanny first saw Nicole Tom in Beethoven and we're like, oh boy, we got to cast her in this show? And I mean, to be fair, Beethoven came out in 1992 is when it was released. And The Nanny aired first in 1993, although they probably shot the pilot in 92. So I don't know if they would have seen Beethoven then.
I'm going to say this though. My guess, and I would bet some money on this, is that no, because yes, she was in Beethoven, but like that wasn't like a Alicia Silverstone in Clueless role. That wasn't like a role where you're like, oh, who is that person? We need to cast this person. She was perfectly great in it, but I think it was probably more the kind of thing where she was doing a lot of casting calls. She was getting some work at the time and probably auditioned for the role of Maggie with a bunch of other people.
I would agree. And I mean, also, let's be honest, like the Beethoven movies, it was about that dog. You know what I mean? I don't think anyone was looking at the human characters to be like, what are their performances like?
I love Beethoven. Oh my God. Sometimes when I'm just like drifting off in thought, I remember how he saved that little girl from drowning in the pool.
Fun Beethoven fact, did you know that movie is credited to being written by Edmond Dantes and Amy Holden Jones, but Edmond Dantes is actually a pseudonym for the great John Hughes.
Oh, wait, I don't know why I just acted shocked. I think I knew that.
No, I love that you acted shocked. It really sold it for the purposes of the show.
No, I thought I took it in a beat. I was like, that sounds familiar. But other fun fact, M. Night Shyamalan ghost wrote She's All That.
All right, we should save all these for our fun fact film podcast where
Here's
we just tell you fun facts about film. Yeah.
So Alex Enrico 3N I think I said that wrong. She has an interesting question, and I don't think we can answer yet. Is Fran Fine actually a good person? I have some thoughts on the morality of her choices. And Shawn, I think you wrote back to explain how, unless I responded in a fever dream.
No, that was me.
And then she wrote, it's more in the later seasons, but she often takes advantage of the Sheffields to get what she wants. It adds to the plot, but her choices are iffy. So we can't even speak to that yet because we're rewatching in real time. But I
can't speak to that yet. I mean, I will say that based on just what we've seen, it does seem like the show is, like, as I mentioned, I think on our last episode, it seems like they're going out of their way to make sure that you don't feel like, oh, she's a gold digger or she's taking advantage of anything or like taking advantage of their grief. Like, so I'd be curious to see if that shifts as the series goes on, or in what ways it's, Alexandra Cohen is interpreting that maybe she's taking advantage of the Sheffields. I'd be curious. I don't know.
Well, this actually ties into what I don't know if we have more questions, but it ties into sort of the segment that I wanted to get to, our special episode segment.
I think the only other question we had, let's see, this was also from Liza. She said she's seen the series dozens of times. Okay, that's great. Something. Did we ever watch an episode? Oh, yeah. She wants to know, have we seen any episodes yet where we were basically shocked that there was like a young actor that later on went on to become like a huge celebrity. And she says she did that with Barry Watson, who is from
Seventh Heaven.
Yeah, I always want to say One Tree Hill.
But their happy faces.
But yeah, she was like, "Oh my god!" She was shocked when she saw Barry Watson. So has there been anyone this? I think, I mean, James Marsden was a big one for me on the first episode.
So far that he is absolutely number one in that category for me, because like a lot of the other people who we've seen were like intentional guest stars. I was like, it's so funny that this is one of his first credits.
I think that was it. That was all the questions, but. If you liked that and then have now questions based on those answers that you'd like to get in, I'm sure we'll do another one of these. And maybe we should just do these at the end of every season.
Yeah, because the bummer is, everyone's asking us this now and they're not going to find out the answers for like a number of weeks, but maybe we'll do some in real time. I was going to say, I have a new segment for our special episode, and maybe Shawn, even if you have time, you can even make a new segment song. The segment is called Fears for the Future.
Oh my God. Okay. Well,
and it's about we can narrow it down just for this podcast, for this one. So my fear for the future is that we'll have like mined every possible angle and emotional beat to talk about, like to death by season 3 or so. And we'll just have nothing new or fresh. Like every single time it'll be like, well, yeah, Fran really has the best at heart for this family. Or like, I mean, we're really seeing that, Maggie really does like love Fran like a mom. And it's like, how are people just going to get so bored? So I'm like, as much as I don't want this show to jump the shark, which is another fear of mine because I love it so much, I'm almost like, it's something's got to give so that we have more to talk about,
All right. Well, I don't have that fear. I think that I have faith in Fran and Peter and the rest of the creative staff of the show to keep the show interesting enough that there will be stuff for us to talk about. I think we are deft enough hosts and creative talents that even if the show jumps the shark and becomes a bit of a parody of itself, I don't think we'll spend time shit talking it. I think you and I will find things to enjoy in that. And like this show can just become a series of us like talking about how they've managed to come up with new ways to keep this show going.
You're right, Shawn. You're right.
Okay, well, so here's the big reveal. This segment all along was just called Shawn Makes Toria Feel Better About Her Anxieties. And that's the theme song that I'm writing, and I'm playing it right now. Shawn makes Toria feel better about all her anxieties. That's the name of this segment. So give a listen if you please. Kabada-boo-boo, gibbity-dip-doo, whompy-dooby-dooby-dee-boo.
funny. This segment mimics life.
This was super fun. It was like a fun recap of everything we've done. And I'm very excited to start season 2. Are you?
Mm-hmm. I'm so excited. I was realizing like the kids are going to be older. That's going to be weird.
It's going to be great. Again, I got so much stuff I already want to talk about, and we haven't even watched a single episode yet. So it's going to be good.
As always, everybody, we hope you have enjoyed season 1 as much as we did, because we got so much enjoyment out of it. And we are so thrilled that you're listening, and we are so thankful. And,
And as always, you can find the show and ask your questions and all that stuff on social media. We are on Instagram and Twitter at Oh Mr. Chef with 2 F's, Oh Mr. Chef Pod. You can find us there and ask us stuff. And then obviously the show is on all the podcasting platforms, and you should like and subscribe and leave comments and all that stuff, because it boosts the shows in the algorithm, and then more people see it. And then we have a even larger group of people that love The Nanny. And maybe someday Fran and Peter will come and talk to us about their show. God, I want that so bad.
Oh my God. Okay. So yeah. That's our goal. That's our goal, is having them both on together. Okay. Well, we'll leave you with that dream. Yes. Everybody just, secret it, manifest it for us.
Yeah. Manifest it for us. And I'm going to go run errands with my fiance. It's going to be a lovely day.
Your fiance?
My fiance and I got to go rolling errands.
I'm going to go eat some flavor blasted goldfish alone.
Fun. You have to say that also in like a French accent. I am going to eat some goldfish. I will go eat some goldfish. So sad.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye
Have
forever.
a great week.
Just kidding. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
The Flushing girl from Flushing, the nanny named Fran.
Oh, Mr. Sheffield.
Miss Fine.